2. Hello, and welcome to the Behind the Inspiration Podcast. I am your host, Ken Waller. You know, today I'm just super excited about my two guests. My guests actually are two individuals that are just dynamic people. They're excellent in what they do, and they're unique in what they do. So I just want to introduce you to of the, I would say the curators, the designers, the layout, whatever they are, they'll tell you more about it. But they designed the app called the Boom app. The Boom app, and of course they will tell you about this app. I think this app is for everybody, but especially for Black and African Americans, people of color, to be able to understand how to translate their business from one small sector of marketing to major, whatever you guys want to do. They'll tell you more about it. So tonight, I want to introduce you to Mr. Arron Pighee and also Miss Sequena Luckett, who's everywhere. I want you guys to follow these folks. I want you to follow that Boom app. I want you to download that Boom app, and we're going to get these people going because guess what? They're important people. They're important to the community. We want to make sure that we can support them in any way that we can. So first and foremost, my mom always told me ladies first. So Miss Sequena Luckett, welcome to the Behind the Inspiration Podcast. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Oh my God, thank you so much for the introduction, Ken. I really do appreciate it. My name is Sequena Luckett. I'm a digital strategist, and the Boom app, it stands for Black Owned Operated Marketplace. So we got started about a year ago, and it was soon after the George Floyd incident, where we kind of decided that it's probably the best thing for us to do is to help our African American, team, our Black folks come together and try to help market each other. How can we buy from each other? Arron is on board with us. He was actually on board with us from the start. We actually have a team, a nice team of people that have come together to create this. It's myself, it's James Hampton, it's Tanya Johnson, and of course Arron Pighee. We're all the co-founders, and then we have now new team members that are doing our writing for our copy and pretty much just keeping us together with our system. So Arron, if I could, I just want to ask you a question because I see, first and foremost, for my listeners, I follow these two people because I want to make sure that I can follow somebody that know how to lead. So Arron, how do you view your role in the Boom app? What is it exactly do you do, and how do you support the overall project?
Well, for me, I'm a visual designer, and been in the game for a long while. So for me, I just wanted to add my experience in just the visual look, the aesthetic of design, and and that went into creating the logo. Sequena and I came up with the concept of the Boom app, and she gave me her vision, and the other co-founder Earl, he gave me his thoughts on it. And I just went to work, started putting the logo together. And even now, when we put together social media ads and things like that, I always want to have it, of course, focus on the African American community, but we want all the text now that we have, like some amazing copywriters. We want to grab all the people that are looking at this and let them know, hey, this is what we're bringing to the table. These are some of the smaller businesses that are attracted to us, and we want to bring you into as well. So that's my job. My job is to communicate visually so everyone can wake up and smell the coffee.
Exactly. And I tell you, that's, important in itself because, again, I keep hearing from you guys is the unity, being collective in regards to what we need to be able to move forward. And I say that in a sense of, we need to have our own things. We need to be able to sustain our direction in a way that's going to be for everybody to catch on. We need to start doing some things on our own. I won't go too far into history because that's for another show. But as you can tell, there's not a lot of apps out here that are basically, I would say, designed by African American people. And I'm just thrilled every time I see you guys doing something out there. The content is so bright, so bold, so colorful, and energetic. So I just want to ask you this other question in a way that I think the listeners would probably get. And I guess the question is what is it that you see from a lot of smaller Black businesses lacking in regards to how to get themselves out there? What are some of the major things that you think that could use a little more boost, if you will, as far as their marketing or whatever? Either one, you could answer that question. I'm sorry.
So for us, what we're seeing is the boost is in the marketing. I've been in marketing for 15 years, and it seems to be an issue, like a disconnect between who their target audiences are. I think with people in general, they just want to go out there and sell, instead of trying to figure out who their person that they need to be selling to. And I think when we all start to niche down, that's when we really start connecting with our sweet spot in what's the best way to sell a product or a service. So that's what we're running into with people, where these small businesses are having trouble marketing themselves and actually figuring out who their target audience is so that they can niche down a lot further than they think.
And just to piggyback off that also, a lot of small businesses, of course, they're wearing multiple hats. So it's important for us, and we've had to deal with this when we were just getting everything started, is to explain to the small business the importance of a nice aesthetic look, a professional look, and it's, the design. Sometimes you think you can do it yourself, but there's professionals. We're here to help you out and really make it as clean and professional as possible. But when you're wearing those hats like that, you're thinking about cost and you're thinking about really marketing yourself. So yes, we do have professional people that are in the business of marketing. We have copywriters. We are designers here. We're professionals. We have a nice long resume of it. So when they see that we're not going to charge them an arm and a leg, and you're going to get something that competes with all different, lanes, that's one less thing that you have to worry about. So now let's focus on your target audience, what you're bringing to the table, and let's figure out different ways to, get that business done.
Right. And I definitely see that, or it's something that we definitely want to tell our small businesses. It's very difficult because they wear so many different hats. They think that, okay, I have to be the designer, the writer, the everything. But when you join the Boom app, the Boom community, we help you figure all of that stuff out. We have a team, and we have a team of experts that know what to do. Arron and myself are both graphic designers. I am a web designer. We have a system, a person that can put our systems in place for them. We have people that can really help to market their businesses for them. So just think of us as like an extra added bonus to your team.
Now, as far as actually the application, do you guys do any type of like web hosting and domain name, connections and stuff like that? So do you guys deal with any of the technical side of things, or pretty much from the graphic side of things? Graphic and marketing, I would say.
Well, for me, I have my own company that's outside of the Boom, where I am, as being a digital strategist, I help people with their marketing, their websites, because I'm a web designer. So I can help them with their web design, not necessarily the purchase of their domains, but if you have your own domain, I can certainly help you with figuring out what would be the best kind of like assets that you need when you're starting out. And some people are realizing, I'm realizing to them, they feel like if they're starting out, they need a website like right away. But, it's all about the sales, that's where they really, the ground point is, how do I sell my product? How do I sell my service to the people that want to buy it from me?
And you got to let them know sometimes that, you may not need that website. Social media has become such a big monster now that you can just do digital designs and direct them to different things that you're bringing to the table. There's different creative ways And that's what I do with the digital media side of it. And yes, we both do have our separate companies outside of this, but we bring all of that together. So yeah, some people aren't ready for a website. You know, they may not have enough information. Really, they just need something more so like a digital business card in a sense. You know, so quick reference, quick contact, and move forward from there.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, when you guys mentioned the fact that some people try to do their own, I'm guilty of that.
We've all been, we've all done it now.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because, you know, I'm a 30-year IT professional myself, and sometimes we're the most dangerous ones that you can find to do stuff like this. I had to realize that I'm more from the hardware and policy and procedure writing side versus the marketing and the digital. I can't do that. But again, I was that person that you guys just spoke about that tried to do some things on my own. You make it work, but it's not working like it should. So, I mean, just like with me, I'm going to be searching out some help from you guys as well. Now, as far as like the average person that may not be selling anything, or they're just looking to, let me rephrase that. Everything's selling. If you're on social media and you're trying to move a product, I consider that being sales. So maybe I'll rephrase that. Just an average person that wants to get out there. Arron, you mentioned something in regards to laying out certain types of social media platforms in regards to, okay, you can take a picture and, you know, lay it over something. Can you explain a little bit about how you do that, if you will, or how that, not exactly how you do it, of course, because, you know, we're not going to get that far going, but could you explain a little bit how that process actually would work?
Well, there's a couple of different processes. One, our first approach, and this is just coming from the freelance side of this, outside of the boom. We both talk to a client. We want to find out what it is that they want to achieve. Mm-hmm. So from that, we're already thinking about, okay, what's the goal? What's the overall goal? What's the approach? We're asking little simple questions. Even their personality will kind of gear you towards the type of design that they may like. For example, say it was a wedding planning, you know, we're already thinking, okay, just from research, we already know the soft colors and tones that go into something like that. So we're already thinking about different ways to design, different ways to approach the fonts, the hierarchy of the fonts. And then we're thinking about, hey, well, what about your logo? So it's going to be more of a classy thing. So this just comes from years of just looking at magazines and just studying different layouts and understanding what other people do. And then that's when we put our own design elements onto it and make it original. So they're kind of like references in a way, and we show folks different looks, and that's my approach to it all, is give different samples based off of conversations. What's the target audience? We know what the target audience is, with, like I said, with a wedding planner or something like that. But then you have some that are just really vague, and we spend actually more time nailing that down. Exactly, because they can be all over the place. It's just like, okay, right, that's fine, but what's your immediate need? What's your immediate target audience? Once we start nailing that down, we're writing all that stuff down. Then that's our framework to really start developing the design process, and that's point that I know you know that one.
Yeah, no, it definitely starts with the end goal. So what is your end goal? What are you trying to achieve and accomplish? And then it's kind of like we work backwards. We know what our end goal is, and now we can kind of put things into perspective and move things into little bite-sized pieces so that we can reach that goal. So that's pretty much how design works. But, you know, people are always like, oh, I just want to design this and make it look pretty. Right. But what are you selling? If you are designing a marketing ad, you know, for that wedding planner, or, you know, what are you selling them? You know, are you selling the dresses? Are you selling the events? Are you selling your package? What are you going to be selling them first? And then we can move our way forward to that.
Wow. And with that comes also, just to say, with that comes the photos and different things like that. Right. That's where everything kind of falls into place, because it all starts with the story, listening. We have to be active listeners and really hear what that client is saying. The more notes and the more things that we got, that's the easier. It's easier for us to just lay everything out on the table and start coming up with comps and samples for you.
Yeah.
You know, as I listen to the both of you, You know, the show is called Behind the Inspiration Podcast. You guys have passion that's just really out of this world in regards to what you do, and we have to have that. When I'm saying we, I mean, more or less being collective. And then when you set out to do something, you have to have a passion to do it. So I'll start with you, Sequena. I will ask you, what really inspired you to become a graphic designer, or more or less to go out on your own, venture out and get really deep or in depth into this particular field? What inspired you, Sequena?
What inspired me when I started was I had a website I wanted to learn how to do myself. Well, I actually hired someone to do it, and they didn't do it correctly, at least in the way that I wanted it. And I just kind of jumped out there and learned how to do it myself, and I realized that I was really good at it. And it was something, you know, that kind of like God just kind of put on your heart and you don't even know it. You know, I had no clue. I was running from doing this stuff and was like, I don't want to do that. I got all these other things that I want to do. And then it just kind of, every time I turned, it came back to it. You know, it's like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. So I didn't realize, you know, that whole left brain, right brain, creative type of thing. I didn't know. I just know I wanted to inspire the world, but I didn't know how I was going to do that. And for me, I got inspired because I was doing my best to inspire the world. And God was saying to me, hey, this is your lane. Tech is your lane. So get in your lane and stay there, you know, and I've been there ever since. It was 15 years ago, you know, so.
So Arron, I want to ask you that same question. What really inspired you to do what you're doing?
Let me just say this. Both of us, Sequena's being modest. Sequena actually is not only a dynamic web designer, but she has a background in interior design as well. So that's something that she was going to school for as well. With me, I went to school, initially, I was at Bowie State University. I wanted to be a fine arts teacher. So I was in the fine arts. I was painting and sculpting, and I just gradually just started realizing I can do this digitally. And that's where I started taking classes and fell in love with it. I didn't really get a lot of chances initially, but you know, volunteer work. I did a lot of volunteer work, and they let me, hey, if you volunteer, you can do a free flyer, or you can do this, or church flyers. And I'm like 20 something years old, like, hey, sure, you know, just so proud to see it, and I'm hanging it up.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you fall in love with the volunteer side of it. You fall in love with the arts. So a lot of my design I'm doing, and Sequena will tell you this, I like to do a lot of volunteer work. I like to do things for churches, AME, and that's where my inspiration came from, and it just sprouted from there. So,
you know, and I share, I hear both your stories, and for me, and I don't want to talk about me right now, but I'm always inspired to inspire others. So Sequena, when you said what you said, is that one of your thrusts in regards to what you do is being propelled by your desire to inspire somebody else. And it's so ironic because this show basically was built off the platform of inspiration, because I needed to be inspired in so many different ways. And once God led me to this particular platform, because again, I'm an IT guy. I had no idea, didn't want to do a podcast, had no idea, none of this stuff, never even thought about it. But there had to be a way for me to motivate other people, to encourage other people, and most certainly to inspire other people. Now, I want to take another level, because, you know, on the Behind the Inspiration podcast, I ask these 2 or 3 questions, and it's always the first one is what inspired you. So I'm going to ask you, Sequena, who inspired you into what you're doing, to be the person that you are? I know there is somebody out there that inspired you to be the person that you are. Who inspired you?
Both my parents. I got Two people. My parents inspired me. You know, my mom is always that person that's in my corner. Like, it doesn't matter what it is I'm doing. She's like, I got faith in you. She says that all the time. And I say that a lot to people too. I noticed that somebody was telling me something today, and I was like, I got faith in you, girl. You got this, you know? And she's always been that person that's been in my corner. And my dad, with the way that he inspires me, is he's gone through a lot in his life, you know, personally, and just to kind of see him flourish from, you know, all the pain, sorrow, and suffering that he was going through at the beginning of his life, and, you know, the early parts of my life, he's become this person that's just so amazing. And like, I can like watch him and see where he was and how he is now, you know? So it's just watching both my parents be an inspiration to me, and now I am just so excited to be inspiring to others, you know, or even just hearing their stories. Stories are amazing. People don't realize that.
Oh my God.
But just to hear a person's story, you relate, you hear yourself in them. So those are my two biggest, like, you got this, you can do this, people.
Awesome.
In my world.
So Arron, I hate to say this, but I'm gonna have to embarrass you a little bit.
That's okay.
Because I can almost pinpoint where some of your inspiration comes from. But anyway, how about you just share that with us? Who inspired you?
Well, Sequena and I, we both share the same thing. It's my parents as well. So it's my stepfather, Ernie Hines, and Betty Hines. Betty Hines is, I mean, she's always pushed me. I've always been inspired by her energy and the way she conducts herself, and Ernie as well. And I've learned from them that when, you know, that entrepreneurial spirit at an early age, and, you know, you're gonna have your ups and downs when you're out there, when you step out there on your own. So you have to be self-motivated. You have to encourage others. You have to be willing to connect with others, because you can't do it all by yourself. So, you know, listening to them, watching them, you know, even to this day, you know, I'm still figuring out different ways to handle certain things. So yes, yeah, Betty Hines and Ernie Hines, those two, those are my two aces, you know, that I have in my pocket that I always rely on. And they encourage me with everything that I do. So I'm very thankful for that. Absolutely.
And I just want to just a little add on to that a little bit, because I had the pleasure of interviewing your mom.
Yes.
And, you know, again, I don't want to be so partial towards talking about your mother, but your mom's an awesome individual as well.
Yes,
you know, again, on a personal note, you know, Betty encourages me just about every day. Matter of fact, I spoke with her on yesterday. We talk a lot, believe it or not. And I'll tell you, she's so motivating, she's so dynamic, that I've gotten to the point that if I don't call her around 6:30 in the morning, I don't get her until later.
And
but you know,
yeah,
I had that opportunity. Yeah.
She's sending scripture.
Yeah.
She's giving me that energy.
I mean, I can't keep up with her, so I know. Well, look, guys, I'm gonna tell you. I also just want to add, and if you guys could, how can people get your app? Where can people find you? If you want to share that information with us, I would love it, because, you know, all my listeners, my viewers, I want everybody to have an opportunity to be able to access this Boom app. I'm going to make sure, of course, all that information will be in my show notes, so you'll be able to get it. But I'd like you guys to verbalize it and give people an opportunity to hear from you how to find you.
Well, people can find us on social media. So we're all over the place on social. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. You can also find us on YouTube as well. And our handle is @TheBoomApp. So, I mean, we're in that. It's all over the place. We also have a Facebook group that people can join to get to know us even better. You know, we have pop-up shops in there for all of our vendors. And we're just kind of, you know, moving along. You know, people can find us in any aspect. If you're looking to email us, you certainly could. It's at info@theboomapp.com. You can also go to our website as well, which is theboomapp.com. You can, and we're getting ready to revamp that too. So we're like super excited about all the new stuff that's coming out for people to get to know us even more. And we are so interested in getting to know all of the businesses as well. So if you're a small business owner and you really do need a dynamic team behind you so we can help push you out there even further, then you definitely want to be on the board.
Great. So Arron, I'm gonna give you a parting shot. You know, due to time, we're gonna wrap this up. But I just want to ask you, you know, what would you give to not just overall our listeners, but someone that would want to venture out and get their products moving and things like that? Because there's always that first step. Right. So I want to ask you, what would be a first step for someone that's interested in of course, using you guys' services and your platforms? What would probably be like the first couple of things they would do?
First couple of things is, number one, you got to have that business plan mapped out. And if you build it out to at least, depending on what you're doing, it could be a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan. But you have to have some type of business plan mapped out. Also, it really all depends on your product, because in today's world, not everything is boots on the ground anymore. You know, so you can do a lot of things digitally. So that saves a lot of, you're not risking as much as you used to when you're getting started. So digitally, I would say get your hands on some good IT people, get your hands on some good web people, and get yourself a good designer, and we can help you with it. Because those things right now, the marketing, we're in a marketing world where the attention spans change just like that. Mm-hmm. So whatever you're saying, it has to really grab them. So whatever product you have, whatever service that you provide, make sure you invest in a good copywriter. You know, don't do it all yourself. You know, get somebody who you know that's what they do. You know, and it doesn't have to be a big long spiel. It could be just a tagline or a phrase. Run with that. You know, push your product and get some good designers. That small investment will go a long way.
And see, all the things that Arron is talking about, the Boom does.
Absolutely.
So
exactly. That was gonna be my part. So you told us, I was gonna make sure that people understand that all the things they're looking for can be found.
We're right here to help you. We have a whole team of experts that can help you get there. So you can also download our app, you know, and become a vendor. That's a very quick way of doing it. And we are both on Apple and the Google Play Store. So you can just go right onto the Boom app and find us and download our app. And we're here to help you grow. And I mean, we can help you grow with as little as $25 a month. So, I mean, think about, you're getting a dynamic team for $25 a month. I don't think you can beat that with a stick anywhere.
Absolutely.
So family, you heard it. You can see it. So I want you guys to reach out to the Boom app, become members, understand that you're getting the best of the best. So you want to make sure that you can join these folks, make sure that you understand the nature of what you're trying to do, and just go for it. Because I tell you, we need to support each other in any way that we can. So again, thank you, family, for joining the Behind the Inspiration podcast. Thank you, Sequena. Thank you, Arron. You know, guys, I most certainly will be in touch with you. And again, family, you'll find all their information in the show notes on way to communicate back and forth with them. Please follow them. Please follow the Behind the Inspiration podcast by liking, by sharing, by checking us out on Facebook. We're all over the place. But first and foremost, I'd like to thank God for the opportunity. I thank you again, Sequena, and I thank you, Arron, for joining the Behind the Inspiration podcast, where we encourage, where we motivate, and where we inspire. Thanks very much. Peace. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.